Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. And it seems that not only do we need to change this government, we absolutely, positively, totally have to change the entire justice system. Where we're going with this particular video is, I think, going to get a lot of people very, very angry. And rightly so. If you're not angered by what I'm about to do and say here, then I think there's something wrong. Something wrong inside you. Because it is appalling that this has happened. Now, Lee Anderson has got involved in this, and he is berating and tearing into this judge that made a call that I think goes over and above the ability of a judge to do. It shows that there is no justice in this country, and that the legal service and the whole justice system, in fact, is no longer fit for purpose because it does not protect the people of this country. So, deep breath, hold on to your hats, ladies. We're going on a ride that will utterly disgust a lot of people. Very quick background. There was a young girl who was groomed, abused and arred by a Muslim gang from the age of 11. Started when she was 11. And these people were doing these things to this girl. They were Pakistani Muslims, of course. What else? And they were finally prosecuted. And as part of this, the victim gets to make a victim's statement to the court. It's the contents of that victim's statement that is causing controversy. Not the contents of it, but what the judge has said about the contents. Let's get into this and be prepared to be appalled and angered. A judge, I'm going to read this through. It's here, it's on the tablet. I'm going to read this through because I just can't go through. I've tried doing this once before this video. This is my second attempt. First time I just got angry. So I thought, no, I'm going to do it cold. So cold read. I think it's the only way. So a judge reportedly demanded that a victim of an gang, a Pakistani Muslim gang, who were doing this to her from when she was 11. And she wants this victim to remove demands for deportation from her victim impact statement. So a top judge has been savaged after he demanded that a victim of this gang drops her calls for the perpetrators to be deported. The victim made the call in her courtroom victim impact statement. This is where she stands in the court and reads her statement to the court saying what this has done to her, and it goes to aid the sentencing, allegedly, but it does no such thing. Anyway, this was while explaining her heartbreaking story of grooming and abuse from the age of 11. In her original speech, seen by the broadcasters, GB News and the BBC, the victim requested that after sentencing, the criminals should be deported back to Pakistan, as this is where they originated from and where they came from to come here to exploit and abuse children. I see nothing wrong with what she has said. I completely agree with everything she has said. There is nothing wrong there. She is factually correct. Barrister Matthew Bean, acting for the Crown, was heard conferring with the judge over this section. Mr. Bean was heard saying whether the abusers, remain in the country is not up to the Home Office. Yes, it surely is. Lee Anderson, thank heavens for people like Lee Anderson, has now led a furious backlash to this, telling GB News for far too long these Pakistani grooming gangs have gotten away with grooming and arring young English girls, whilst the police and social services have been very slow to act, or indeed looked away deliberately, or in some cases in the past, provably handing victims back to them. He said it would now appear that even when these vile perverts are caught, that our judicial system still puts the perpetrators of these vile acts before the victims. No ifs or buts. If they were born in a different country, send them straight back. Tory leadership contender Robert Jenrick agreed. He said foreign sex abusers, excuse me, foreign sex abusers who come here and join grooming gangs to exploit young girls should obviously be deported. The victims will not be silenced. And no, they shouldn't. They should be heard. They should be put on towers and telling it from a high place so that all can hear. Fellow Tory MP Neil O'Brien added, "This is really bad. It is appalling. The system should not be telling our survivors what they can and cannot say in their personal statements. This is another shocking story." He said, the victim then went on and spoke and said that because of Britain failing to deport these criminals, these foreign R-gang criminals, she said, if someone's not born here and they're here to exploit children, after the sentences are complete, they should be deported. There's nothing to say that they'll stop exploiting yet more children. We can deport them and let their own country deal with them. Now, let me tell you, if you go to somewhere like Pakistan and start abusing children like that, you won't go into court. You see it all the time. They just catch them in the streets and cut them into 1,000 pieces. Perhaps that's a more fitting punishment than we do in this country, but alas, our laws don't allow it. She said the Foreign Office should absolutely give Pakistan full punishment if they refuse to accept grooming gang rapists. She said those men need to be deported to Pakistan and have the visas, and Pakistan itself should have its visas restricted. If they refuse to take them, we just stop letting Pakistanis into the country. Good. Rochdale R-gang ringleader Kari Abdul Rauf was ordered to be deported to Pakistan, but this has been delayed owing to Pakistan refusing to take him back. Cut the doors. No one comes in from Pakistan until you take him. The victim was referring to a particular man called Mohammed Ammar, 42, who was convicted of 2 counts of indecent assault and sentenced to 14 years imprisonment. Mohammed Zayab, 49, convicted of 2 counts of 1 count of sexual intercourse with a girl under 13 and 1 count of trafficking, and sentenced to 25 years. The latter required an Urdu interpreter in court. I hope he paid for it. I think the simple thing is, since it is always Pakistani Muslim gangs that do this, close the borders, don't let them in. Take all the ones here, and as soon as they're convicted, fire them back to Pakistan. If Pakistan don't want them, leave them in the airport. Let them get on with it. Not a problem for us any longer. We must look at this for what it is. When you see a threat, you've got to recognise it as a threat. Now, I'm not saying that all Pakistani Muslims are threats, but I'm saying it seems to be more likely, doesn't it? And what do you do when you perceive a threat? You take actions against it. There has to be something done. It's going on too long, and the authorities have covered this up for years. They don't want to tell you that 30,000 girls have been abused like this, because they know if the full truth come out and the full horror come out, well, there'd be an awful problem in this country. But I'll tell you now, it'd only be a problem for a very short while. Then after that, the problem would have gone away. There we go. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Bye.